I recently discussed the idea of dark electricity and how things are not always what they seem to be. How evil spirits may have access to you and I through a device we are in contact with quite often, our cellular phones. So, I want to expand on this a bit and see if we can better understand how this all works. Dark electricity was just an introduction into something that gets very deep. And the deeper you go into it, it wipes that idea of fantasy out of your mind. And it becomes very real. You want to hear a quick funny story, folks? Yesterday, after uploading that video on dark energy, because in that video I discuss evil spirits getting into your electronics and mobile devices. It just so happens that yesterday was also the day I usually pay my cell phone bill. Yeah, I know I'm old school. I do it manually. But I couldn't do that because the website was malfunctioning. Error after error. So I visited an alternate pay site. I paid. And I think it was a good hour before I realized that the payment hadn't gone through yet. Which is the first time ever. I never had a delay that long. So I went back to the original payment site, and after a few attempts, I finally was able to get that taken care of. Now, mind you, I was laughing the entire time through this whole ordeal, which extended to about 3 hours. I'm telling you guys, see, they know when you're talking about them. Yeah. You think Google is the only one listening? They're listening too. I would say coincidence, but that was the first time that this has happened to me with this phone service that I've had for more than 6 years now. I want to talk a bit more about this in your cell phone. The gateways that are used to invade our technology, ultimately invading our lives. So I was talking about how ley lines are used, or at least they were once used as energetic electromagnetic paths from one megalithic structure to another around the world for spirits to travel along. Now, with the advancement of the internet and wireless technology, it seems they now have the ability to travel freely among us, jumping from cell tower to cell tower, hotspot to hotspot, into your phone. Demonic text. The enemy can use technology, says Exorcist. Now, the article is a bit extensive, so I want to summarize it for you. Manila, Philippines. Demonic spirits can send text messages to cell phones and use modern technology to harass or lure people to the dark side. Father Jose Francisco Sequoia, chief exorcist of the Archdiocese of Manila, also says receiving messages from demons is an experience common to priests helping possessed persons liberate themselves. So according to this interview, this priest says that he has witnessed this himself and has talked to other exorcists, and they too have confirmed text messages from angry entities swearing at them, telling them they won't go easy. His most memorable encounter with demonic text happened in 2003 when the office cell phone used by the Archdiocese of Manila Office of Exorcism received menacing messages from the phone of a female ex-Satanist referred to him by a Kavit-based priest. The priest earlier reported seeing the woman levitate. Okay, so did everyone hear that? The archdiocese had the contact information of an ex-Satanist, and through her cell phone, a demonic spirit, probably the one she was infected by, reached out to him like an angry ex-lover. Imagine knowing someone who has one of these evil spirits covertly infecting their life, and at times that entity is attempting to reach out to you in efforts really to get rid of you, because these demons really want to get people when they are alone. They want to get rid of the people that they are surrounded by, because there is no one to distract them at the time, you see? Now, I understand for some of you this is going to feel a bit hard to accept, but let me remind you, when ghost hunters are out hunting for spirits, what type of equipment do they use to communicate and detect them? Electrical equipment. That's why lights flicker, televisions go on and off. They can control the electricity, they can use it. But more than threatening messages, Sakuya is worried about how the devil uses modern technology to lure young people through the internet, especially during this lockdown when they spend unsupervised hours in cyberspace. He cites a study done in 2000 that found children aged 10 to 17 having only 1/3 of face-to-face encounters with other people compared to similar age groups from past generations. When a person gets isolated, the devil starts to work on the mind, he warns. The young start to have all these thoughts that make them feel depressed and alone. Only 30% human contact? That's what the devil desires. The article from there gets into more about demonic harassment, possession, and exorcism. So for those of you who believe these entities exist in our world, I'm sure you are not dismissing the idea of, yes, these spirits can get to us and your children through mobile devices, seemingly at will. Part of the technology may have something to do with the screen itself, the black mirror. But I'll be getting into that in another video very soon. So your cell phone may be haunted. Is that the worst thing in the world? It could be one of your dolls or stuffed animals. That's worse. That means it's there. You know what the irony of all this is? That somewhere out there, there's an evil spirit text messaging someone, and that spirit is getting straight ghosted. You know the demon got left without a response and was like, I left that message 2 hours ago. Roar. You gotta laugh, folks, especially when you're researching this kind of stuff or listening to it. How many of you have heard of spiritual imprinting or energetic imprinting? I'm sure most of you have heard of it once I explain it. Let's say you moved into a home and in one of the bedrooms someone was murdered. Well, sometimes the energy created by the crime gets left behind. You've heard this, right? Not only does it get left behind, it loops in this type of cycle so that people living around this energy start to feel the effects and start to take on characteristics of that energy like anger, violence, depression. When you bring one of these cell phones into that environment, some interesting things happen. The cameras, depending on the model, some of them can be calibrated to catch some things either in a snapshot or a video that you wouldn't be able to see with your eyes, of course, or with some other camera. The cell phone cameras are better designed to capture this type of phenomenon. I wonder why that is. Listen, folks, their game is not to scare you. It's to lure you. So most of what they do through a cell phone or laptop desktop, television, mobile device, it's going to be to lure you into something negative and then keep you engaged in that thing. I have one more topic I want to discuss on this, and that is the mirror, and then I'm out. I'll come back to it another time, but you can't stay engaged in these topics too long. For your own health, really. Because you will become preoccupied with it when you are supposed to be preoccupied with living and loving life, not fearing it. Now, I want everyone to understand something and listen closely. The power of that cell phone or mobile device that these beings may be using to get to people is not one-sided. You ever wonder why the frequencies of these devices match the biological frequencies of the earth and human beings? Because they need that technology to be tied to you. They need it to have an intimate connection to your biology. That's why these frequencies are used, folks. Because they can connect to you better, you see? It's not an accident. You're electrical, they're electrical. Makes sense? Oh, did I raise an eyebrow? These devices absolutely can be portals or gateways. Maybe not into other dimensions, but to things that are from other dimensions. And there are stories out there of people having these kind of issues with their mobile devices. I remember telling you guys one time that a good sign of demonic infection is when things start breaking down around you. When things break like electronic devices. Not always, but it happens. It's just when it happens all the time to you and your devices. People have the power to do the same thing these spirits can do through mobile devices, don't they? Harassment, influence. I guess we just have to be able to recognize who and what we are engaging with. Just watch your kids. There is more to come, folks, so stay tuned. Be sure to visit woodwardentertainment.com and the Woodward Entertainment Store. You can follow me on Instagram at jwoodward. Go watch something funny. And as always, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all soon.